Yakuza games have higher than my standards for fistfighting games. There's just something about bouncing your enemies that guns and melee just don't really satisfy for me. That's why I get annoyed when fistfighting is an afterthought and there's no real reason to use it. So in Time Cowboy, fists aren't just a weak melee weapon. Instead, they serve two purposes: regaining health and to knock off enemies. Punching an enemy restores 0.5 HP per hit. Killing an enemy restores 15 HP. This is very useful when punching the standing shooters since they can't run away from you, meaning you can take down an enemy and heal at the same time. This was honestly really easy to code in, but I did have to make some tweaks, but nothing big. But just knocking enemies back is kind of boring. Every weapon needs a special, so I had to add one. What to add though? An uppercut? But what would it do? Then my friend, yeah, the same one from before, suggested that the uppercut launches enemies backward and into the air. I think he redeemed himself now. Honestly, this was fun to add since you can push suicide bombers away from you, or uppercut him into a group of moving shooters and set up some really chaotic chain reactions. It just opens up a lot more opportunities to do some cool enemy interactions. What's next? Well, I think a new enemy would be cool for this level, but it should be a surprise like the suicide bomber. How about an enemy that's just a tumbleweed at first, and then becomes a tumbleweed monster? I got this idea from one of my older sister's friends who was talking about how he saw a tumbleweed in person for the first time, thought I was trying to touch it, and no, it wasn't. He got hurt. So that's where that idea came from, but obviously if I just made it a static enemy that only hurts you when you touch it, that'd be pretty lame. Instead, when you get close, it turns into a big monster and starts shooting these stunning projectiles at you. Again though, just having it stun you would also be pretty lame. Why not also have it slash you with poison? To begin with this horrible idea, I began to work on the spray, which I had already made concept designs for. Taking note from how I did in my new profile picture with the layering stuff, I did the same here and used whatever these are called in A-Spray. I put them into the game and it felt pretty good. The tumbleweed towers over everyone. And now it's time to start coding in the... Huh? Why isn't he dying? Oh, I forgot to have a collision size with the spray. So after 5 minutes of searching up formulas because I'm bad at math, I eventually just had the game get the sprite size and divided by 400 and 200 on the X and Y axis respectively. Now we have a properly sized hitbox. Now, time to work on the attack. Just reusing the shooter's code and tweaking it to work with melee, we got this. This is really buggy. I don't know why it keeps or how it's applying poison when I'm nowhere near. Which eventually I found out was due to me coding in that the current target is poisoned no matter what, in or outside the melee hitbox. This was simply fixed by checking which entity is within the hitbox. As for it continuously applying poison, this was fixed by checking one of two things. 1. If the player has the poison tag and is false. 2. If the player doesn't have the poison tag. If either one is true, then we apply poison. If number 1 is false, then we don't apply poison since the player already has poison. With that aside, I need to stop the tumbleweed from being dumb and poisoning itself to death by adding another check if it's the owner that we're poisoning. Afterwards, taking a couple pointers from the moving shooter's code and adding a new function to give projectiles different functionalities, this is how the tumbleweed plays. So I haven't added tumbleweed transformation yet. It worked pretty good, though I wasn't able to kill it due to the melee hitbox not being on the correct layer. Either way, with a bit of polish and adding to transformation, this looks pretty good now. With this, I also made level 3, which was made to show off the tumbleweed. Now that we're near the end of the video, I'll list off a couple minor changes. Enemies no longer just disappear when they die. Now they have a death animation and drop their hat. Moving shooters have been given a new coat of paint. This is just to make them stand out more. Updating maps is easier now since level and navigation meshes are built at runtime. I can jump into Trench Room, update the map, press R in the game, and boom, new version of the map. I added a dev console, making debugging super easy. I could have used the console from my other games, but it was becoming bloated and jank, so I just used one by Jitspo. The shotgun's special cooldown continues even if you don't have it equipped. after some complaints from my friend. The suicide bomber's fix, due to a simple mistake in typing in less than rather than greater than, he would freeze up and wouldn't move unless you were insanely far. I also changed his behavior to full on charge you like intended. I added blood particle, and decals. I did this after I finished the script and didn't really record much of the process either. And with that, tell me what you think I should add, fix, or flat out remove from the game. Anyways, to leave off, here's how the game plays.